All right, welcome to our next episode of Thundercast. And today our guest is Miranda Jiggins, and she is the author of Total Boss. She's also a personal trainer and a personal coach. Hello, Miranda.
Hi, Doug. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I'm glad we got it worked out. So, real quick, tell us about your businesses and which ones you're focusing on, and then, I'll definitely get a ton of questions for you.
Yeah. So I'll keep it really short. I love questions, so please ask away. I'm an open book and will answer anything. So my business, Total Boss Wealth and Wellness, or Total Boss for short. I started in the fitness industry in 2018, and I became fully self-employed in 2019. We still have the fitness portion, but we have branched off to a whole lot of different other things. We still, like I said, we still have the fitness side. I also have a business coaching side where I help women who have a corporate career and a side hustle grow their side hustle that they're doing or their small business, so they're able to branch out and do that on their own, and they can leave their 9 to 5 if they would like. So that's super exciting. We do that as well. I have a line of events. We are international, and we're in 4 different locations for the Total Boss event. And let's see here, I'm an author. Yeah, so there's a lot going on, but it's super exciting.
And you're a best-selling author.
Thank you.
Right? Yeah.
Actually, we got number one. If I may, we got number one in 7 out of 10 categories on launch day.
That's amazing. Who launched that for you?
Stacy Rasky. Well, she helped me. We did it together. Yeah, she's incredible. So I have nothing but amazing things to say about Stacy Rasky. So she helped me do the book. So it was a team effort for sure, and I could not have done it without her.
Yeah, I love Stacy. We just interviewed her last week. It's fantastic. Good interview with her.
Nice. I'll have to listen to it.
All right, so I'm dying to hear, what topics did you cover at your event in the Dominican?
Okay, so we just had the Dominican event, mastermind/retreat, which was absolutely incredible. I went in there honestly with not a whole lot of expectations. I really don't go into any of my events with a whole lot of expectations. I'm totally into letting things flow how they do. So in regards to the topics, my speakers that I had speaking, everybody always asks me, they're like, what do you need to talk about? All of that. And I always tell my speakers, I want them to talk about what lights them up with a little bit of what they do tied into their business. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I'm really into people talking about what lights them up, because I don't want somebody on stage speaking about what they're not passionate about, because I feel like that can be really counterproductive. So it got so deep on day one. I don't think anybody was expecting it, including myself. It was just the passion and the stories that were shared and the breakthroughs that happened were absolutely crazy. And everyone there was a whole lot of different industries there. There was real estate, financial education, health insurance, psychology. I mean, there are so many different so many different categories of people that were there in so many different industries, but everybody was a business owner. But the cool thing was everyone had a story, right? Everyone had some really, really big challenges and hurdles that they've had to overcome. And it's just cool that people can be so different and in different industries, but then again, we're all business owners and we've all overcame these crazy, insane challenges to make us who we are now. So that was super cool to me. And it was just incredible.
That's a great segue too. So what are some of the challenges that you had to overcome as a business owner to get to your level of success? Because your events have been going on for 1.5 years and they seem to get bigger and more popular. I mean, your success is pretty, stratospheric, I guess is the word I'm looking for. You just went from nothing to boom, right? You just exploded. And so what challenges did you have to overcome to make that happen? Because everyone has those.
Yeah, thank you. First off, I've never had anyone say my success was stratospheric before. You just totally made my day. The whole year, honestly. I'm honored by that. I don't consider myself successful at all. I mean, I do in a couple of things, but I really feel like I'm just getting started in my business, and it feels like it's day one every single day. Does that make sense? So I really appreciate that. But even though I feel like some people can have misconceived perceptions of that. Not you, because you're a business owner, but people that are not business owners, they see us, go from nothing to Saturn. Does that make sense? And they don't see all the things in between. So I'm really honored that you said that, but I like to make sure I bring everybody back to reality and say, hey, like this is not all rainbows and butterflies, but I love the process with all of my heart and I wouldn't change it with anything. Like I know I was put on this planet to run a business. I just love it, right? Even the challenges that come with it. But I've learned running a business is that the more challenges you have, the more you will bounce up into the next level. And I really want to encourage everybody that's listening to this to really embrace the challenges that you're in, because that's what's going to bring you to the next level. You can't level up without those. So I used to really resist challenges, and now I just embrace them like with full force, because I think that's like the one differentiating factor of what's going to make or break somebody, most definitely.
Right.
In regard to my challenges, oh my gosh, there's been so many. It's hard to pinpoint them. So I think if let's do two or three. Let's hit two or three main big ones.
Oh, yeah,
So I think
lay it out.
yeah. Okay. So number one challenge, what's very, very first starting was more of like, I've had to do a ton of personal growth. That's been a game changer for me. So when you do personal growth, a lot of times the people in your circles don't want to be in your circle anymore. And that was really hard for me to like break away from the people that I used to hang out with, or that like thought were my friends, to go and like for me to step into my next level of self, and for them to, if they choose to. So that's been like the hardest. When I first started, that was one of the hardest things for me, is like, oh, like everyone's not like me. I thought that was really hard for me at first, because I thought everybody had goals, right? And I thought that everybody just like, I mean, I love getting up every day and going to work. It just makes me happy. I thought everyone was like that. And then when I was in high school, I had a lot of like issues with like bullying and stuff. Nobody ever believes me when they tell them that now, but it's totally true. I can show you the pictures. I ate lunch in the cafeteria, not the cafeteria, the library, junior and senior year, and I didn't go to prom. And nobody ever believes when I tell them that, but it's totally 1000% true. Yeah. So it's like, but because of all the inner work that I've done, I really realized that I'm not like everybody else. And then that us entrepreneurs, anybody in some sort of art, right? Whether like you're an entrepreneur or like an artist or some kind of a creative space, we're always just like a tick off from everybody else. And that's why I realized I had all those, like social issues when I was younger. So that was like one of the hardest things for me to work through and realize. But when I realized, I was like, oh, I'm not like everybody else. That made those personal challenges a lot easier to work through. And then that made me make those decisions. So if this person doesn't want to like hang out with me, or why doesn't this person want to like, like grow with me, right? So that it really made me help work through that a little bit easier. So if someone's listening to this and they're having issues with that, or they're really struggling with like your inner circle not wanting to elevate with you, just realize they might not be on the same path as you, and that's okay. But that's been like one of the hardest things for me, for sure. Because I want everyone to win, right? And I cheer everybody on. And when I first started, it was hard for me to like wrap my head around that like somebody else doesn't want to. It's just that was hard for me. So that's number one. And then number two, it's like, like obviously cash flow is a thing. Like I'm still in that position now. It's just different. It's like, I mean, the way the events got launched is like, this, like I ran all my bank accounts to zero, like covering my expenses a year and a half ago. And I had to cover an expense the next day. So that's how the events got launched. I like made a flyer, posted it. I sold a couple tickets and I covered it just like that. And now it's like, these events are now international, which is so cool. And we did that in a year and a half. So I think that's always there, and it's kind of like new level, same devil. Does that make sense? Because like my, like, I guess like on paper, like my like cash flow now is technically higher, but then again, like you like need like more like overhead to cover that, right? So it's like,
right?
Yeah. So it's kind of like this like weird like balancing thing as you're growing. So I don't know. Those were the two main ones, and then. But it's more for me, it's been as you grow, people might not align with you. And that was really hard for me at first. But
yeah, I feel that, I talked to some of my other guests about this too, because the struggle is real, right? When you decide, hey, I'm going to step out and I'm going to do this business, it's a huge thing, right? It's a life-changing decision, whether it works or whether it doesn't. And you quickly find out the people who can come with you and who don't, because people don't like other people in their circles to change or to grow. And it's not, everyone thinks that they're judging or they're being bad. And I'm sure there's some of that, but I think that you nailed it. Everyone's kind of on their own path, and not everyone's going to be able to come with you. And that's fine. Some of them will later. They just working through their stuff. but what's the old saying? You are the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. And that's where you need to be. If you're starting a business, you need to hang out with other business owners. And yeah, a lot of friends in my lifetime have gone to the wayside because of that. Yeah, I feel.
Yeah.
And what was the other thing? So I want to comment on the cash flow thing because that's real, right? So if I had to say anything to anybody, there's only one solution to cash flow problems, and it's go out and make more money. And that's what you did, right? That's the solution. I mean, you can go back and you can refine your expense process, figure out where you can save money. But if you're already in a jam, there's only one solution, right? To get you out of that jam, and that's to go make money. And that is the hardest thing to do as a new entrepreneur. I think it's still difficult for some of us who've been in the game for 20, 30 years, right? So yeah, I feel your pain. And that's why I think your success has been stratospheric, because when you look at where you started, was a year and a half ago, and where you are now, and I agree, like the sky's the limit for you. I mean, I think you've barely touched on your levels of success. But it's amazing to see how much success you have achieved in such a short period of time. It's absolutely inspiring. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That means a ton to me. Thank you so much. And yeah, and I really feel like that's a mindset shift, because and our parents didn't know any better, and our parents didn't know any better. But if anyone's ever in like the cash flow thing, right? I'm really open about that online. And I think that's why like Total Boss has like, like I use the word lightly, the following that it does, because I've had so many people come up to me and they're like, oh my God, I never would have said that. Or they're saying like, hey, I've been there multiple times that I never would have publicly said that. And in my head, I'm like, why? Every single entrepreneur in their journey has gone through that. And like, I
Right.
totally call bullshit if they have not, does that make sense? But if you're
Yep.
just like real and raw, it's like, that's how you grow, A. And B, we were taught at a very young age, like I said, from our generations that were here before us, that, hey, like, if you're in a bind with cash flow issues, you got to cut. Does that make sense? That's kind of like what most people think of, and it's a completely opposite. It's like, no, it takes just as much effort to figure out how to cut something than it is to go figure out a solution to generate more income. And I've learned, because I've been through like this financial education journey for myself. I haven't really been taught that growing up, so it's something I've had to teach myself. So it's been really cool. But I've learned that if people just cut expenses, it's like going on a New Year's resolution diet. It only works for 6 or 8 weeks and you're right back to where you were, right? But if you
Yeah.
focus on just generating more, that's way more sustainable over the long term, and you're going to grow. So it's a complete mindset shift. And I think that when somebody that's not an entrepreneur sees that can be really intimidating for them. But I think it's our job as entrepreneurs to be leaders and say, hey, you can think about this in a completely different way, and this could change your life. It's just a mindset shift. That's all.
Right. Right. So where do you see yourself a year from now? Like where are your plans for your business and your coaching business?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. When people ask me that question, I always have to stop and think, because literally my focus is just getting through this week. But
That's a good sign. That just means you're really busy, right? You know?
yeah. So, okay. So I want to step into more of the financial education side, because that's something I'm really passionate about and nobody helped me. So I'm really trying to add that piece onto my business. My coaching side, because I've been coaching different legs, but coaching is the same umbrella, right? It's like the same thing, no matter what you're doing, different topics, but it's the same concept. I've been coaching since, like I said, I started in 2018. I became fully self-employed in 2019. So I used to be in my coaching business like 80 to 100 hours a week when I first started. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just figuring it out. And now through, I've really heavily invested into myself, which has been a game changer. Now my coaching business only takes about 10 hours per week max for me to run the whole entire thing. So I have that so dialed in. A big, huge thanks to Stacy again, because like she's helped me so much with that. And now it's opened these doors where that just kind of like runs, not completely automated, but pretty close. And I'm able to do more things with my time, which has been really cool. And I wasn't expecting this time last year. So when someone asked me we're going to be in a year, I said, well, I wasn't expecting to be in this spot this time last year. So that's hard. But I do want to step into some more of the financial education space. I just really feel like I have a lot to give back to that from what I've learned and what nobody taught me and I had to learn myself. I want to be doing only just like the business coaching side for the side hustle people. I absolutely love them with all of my heart. And then for the events, right now we have 4 events. We have Tampa, Cincinnati, Dallas, and the Dominican Republic. I am going to be cutting out Cincinnati and Tampa. So this is going to be the last time we're going to do Cincinnati and Tampa. So for December of 2023 and then April of 2024, we are doing them, but these are going to be the last 2 times. And then after that, I'm just going to be only focusing on the Dominican and the Dallas event. So I'm going to be working on expanding those a little bit and just dialing them in a touch. So I think that's going to be the biggest shift, but I'm excited for that just to get things like dialed in a little bit. So that's,
who is your target market? I know we say entrepreneurs or people with side hustles. Who is your target market?
Yeah, so my target audience is women of ages. They're normally around, I would say, about 35 to 55. A lot of them have a woman aged 35 to 55. They have a 9 to 5. All right, they have a 9 to 5, and then they have some sort of like a side gig that they're doing with that, and then they're trying to break out to the next level. So that is the target audience for like my coaching. For the events and the retreats, those are a little bit more business owner focused.
Well, I've been to the retreats, so there tend to be men and women there.
Yes. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like the retreats, those. I mean, they're not women only. Like I feel like the energy is off if there's no guys there. I don't know. This is not like the women's sorority. So yeah, so like guys and girls are welcome to come to the retreats or the events. Normally I have about 75% women, 25% guys, but I always try to add a couple guys in there, and that's definitely more higher level business owner focused for sure. So those are the differentiators between the two, and then obviously a couple will bleed in, but generally speaking, that's what it is.
So with all of your events, what would you? Because I've been to one of your events, what would you say is your best success story from one of your clients coming from an event? You don't have to say their name because there's always privacy involved, but could you describe one of the big successes one of your clients has had?
Yeah. So I had this person, she came to my Cincinnati event last year, 2022, of November of 2022. And she came on as a client. She wasn't my client then, but she came on about a month later. She decided to come on board. And she has done a complete 180. It's absolutely insane. It's only been 6 or 7 months. So we've completely switched her mindset, right? So she would get really just stressed and anxiety through the roof and all of that good stuff. And now we've completely managed all of that under control. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure she's weaned off her anxiety medication, which is a huge, huge, huge win with all of that. And her business is exploding. She's in the real estate world, and she just had her first $1 million house close.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is super exciting. So she's doing that, and now she's able to bring on other realtors that she's been mentoring, and she's starting her own real estate coaching group. And it's only been 6 months of working together, right? And I've learned that especially for the coaching side, when people come into that, a lot of them have what it takes, right? They have the drive, and they have the work ethic, and they have the goals. They either don't know where to start, right? Or they don't have the support system that they need, or there's no direction or guidance. And I kind of provide all 3 of those, and it just takes a little tweak here and there to really get somebody going. So I think that's just my message to everybody, is just get started, because I feel like I feel like everybody has dreams and goals. I have not met one person ever on this planet that says, oh, I don't have a dream, or I want to be exactly where I am. Everyone always wants to change their life a little bit in some aspect, and they think it's this really big task, and it's not. If you just get started and just do baby steps and do one foot in front of the other and have the correct guidance, it'll elevate way faster than you think it will.
Yeah, I love that as a success story, because I talk to coaches all the time, and one of my it's a complaint, not that these are bad things, because these type of coaching styles work for a lot of people, but it just seems that most people are paying a lot of money for a lot of hype and energy, or an attaboy or an attagirl, right? And so for me, I think you can get those levels of coaching for free from a lot of friends, or even from me or from you. Like, people don't charge for, hey, good job, right? but there's a lot of coaches out there, and that works for some people, right? It's definitely a viable thing. But when I look at coaches that are actually successful, they're diving into the minutia. They're dialing in their coaching specific to each individual that they're coaching and figuring out where their strengths and weaknesses are, and then pushing them in the direction to shore up those weaknesses and then really take advantage of their strengths. And so
Right.
your story just, it hits right on, it nails it, right? And this is one of the things that I want to promote in terms of personal growth, because there's a lot of people out there that could use a coach, but they end up with the wrong coach. And I think that before someone jumps in with 2 feet and signs a 1-year contract at $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month, you should try them out first. Make sure there's a fit, right? And it doesn't mean that the coach is bad. It just means that that coach is not your coach, right?
Right.
And I think there are a lot more happy people out there, a lot less money wasted, and a lot more successful coaches. That's just my 2 cents on the matter.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. And because I've been through like my journey, I guess, to this point, I've been through a couple of different stages. When I very, very, very first started this, and before I even started my business, I was into all the motivational things, right? Like motivational quotes, listening to motivational this and that. And that's great. But at this point, I'm so over that. I want nothing to do with anything motivation. Like I do not need motivation. I need tactical things that's going to bring my business to the next level. And that's how I run my coaching. It's like, listen, if you come into this, we're going to do work. We're going to look at where you're at. And I do specialize in people that are trying to get from 0 to 50K per year. I'm not training like $1 million people yet. That's my goal, but I'm not there yet. So why would I do that? But
50K as a side hustle is pretty substantial, right?
Right. Yeah. So it's like, but I can easily get someone from that point if they listen, you know what I mean, and do the steps. But it's like, but they're not going to get there by listening to motivational videos. They're going to get there by saying, hey, like you got to do A, B, C, D, and E. Like, did you reach out to like your people on Facebook today? Did you make your post today? Did you follow up? Like, did you do your branding or any of that? Right. But it's like, I think that's really important, especially when people are starting out, to be really conscious of like, A, has their coach actually done it? And B, is there tactical things in their program? Because I've also noticed that demographic loves the motivational stuff. They love it, right? But it's like, listen, I know you're excited and I know this is pumping you up, but this is just listening to this is not going to get you results. It's like, and I'm very results driven. So I'm very upfront about that with my people. It's like, listen, it's like, and personally, I'm way over the motivational stuff. So it bothers me to be around it sometimes. So therefore I don't want it in my programs.
Right.
So, I don't know, but that's who I am. And
every now and then I can use a good motivational speech, or, for me, it's just like a 2x4 across the back of the head at this point. It's like, what am I doing? Right. I don't need someone to just give me this inspirational speech. It's just like slap me upside the head and get moving. Right.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm on the same page. So what is something you could impart on the audience today that you feel if they did this one thing would start making an improvement in their life or in their business or in their personal growth? Give me a nugget of wisdom that you would pass on.
Okay, I love this. All right, so let me think. I want to make sure I give the right thing. So if I were to give one piece of advice, it would be, I would make sure everything in your life is in alignment with where you want to go. And that's like for your business, or if you have a 9-to-5, or like a personal relationship. Because if those things aren't in full alignment with you, that's going to be a block for you, whether it's now or 6 months from now. And all of these little tactical things that you're doing to get to the next level aren't going to work if like the relationships and your happiness with where you're at in your career is not in alignment. And I know that sounds way backwards. Like I wish I could say like, you got to do A, B, C, D, and E to grow. But I really feel like alignment's such a big thing. And if something isn't aligned, it's not going to work. So like these steps you're getting aren't going to work if something isn't alignment. So I would encourage everybody to take like 5 or 10 minutes of quiet time and just reevaluate where are you at in your career, like with your boss, with your business, personal relationships especially. And if something is a bit off kilter, change that and then get to work on the steps that you need to do to grow. And you're going to elevate much, much, much faster that way.
That's a great nugget. I like that. I didn't see that one coming. So I think just illustrating why you're, I think, so successful so fast, because everything that you do seems just so innovative and more refreshing than than the constant platitudes that we hear from a lot of other people, right? Just do it. What does that mean? You're laying out a plan, A, B, C, D, do this, get it done. I love it. Wow, we just covered so much in a really short period of time. Let me ask you. I wanted to talk about your book, and I also wanted to talk about some of your personal successes, because I know you do competitions. Are they Beachbody competitions, or are they bodybuilding competitions?
Yeah, they're bodybuilding, and I do the bikini division.
So, like, you were crushing it. Like, you were just slaying it, right?
Thank you. I try.
How long were you doing that for? And how would you say that those successes have been able to manifest your success now? It's something that you built on, because that takes a lot of willpower. It takes a lot of focus and commitment, right? And that's something most people never get to.
Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate that. And so I've been bodybuilding, let's see here. I started at the very end of 2017, and I did my first show in 2018, and I've been competing consistently ever since then. It's really a lifestyle at this point. I just love it with all of my heart. I never want to do that for my income job. Like, I have zero desire to train competitors. I have a bodybuilding coach. He's incredible, but I do that for myself. I don't know. I just love it. Yeah. And I've been competing since 2018, and I'm in my off season right now. So I'm like in my improvement season, but I have a feeling my coach will start like bringing me back down for a show, and I am getting surgery in December, not to have TMI, but
we won't get into that. I don't know what it is. So everyone knows. I don't even know what it is, but yeah, like surgeries that's a life-changing event, right?
I am having a life-changing event. Yeah. So we just for the people listening, we're recording this in August. So I think because of my surgery in December, I'm like, there's no point in me doing a show right now. Does that make sense? If that's like 4 months away. Right. So and I have some like work to do, because we're trying to bring myself to the next level in bodybuilding as well. So, and that requires more time for growth and refinement, because it's like business, the higher you go up in the levels, the more you got to show up and the more competitive it gets, right? And I'm at the point now in my bodybuilding where I don't need any more stage time. Like, I know how it works, right? I've done 9 shows. I know how it's ran. I know how it works. Now we're just really focusing on growing and like developing so I can be competitive at the higher levels. So that's another reason why my coach is having me in a longer off season, because I just need growth at this point. So, which is exciting for me. So yeah, it's just a lifestyle. I just love it. I love the process with all of my heart. I love that it's hard. I love that, it provides so much structure to my day, because us as business owners, our days are unpredictable, right? You can think you're going to have one schedule, and then you're going to wake up, and then you're going to have 10 fires to put out, and then your whole entire day just gets flipped upside down and backwards. But which I love, and you got to roll with it. But bodybuilding is so consistent and such a constant every single day. I have that one constant to rely on. So that's been really helpful in regard to growing my business, because it provides that consistency, and it's such a mental release. Like, I love going to the gym and putting my headphones on and just like decompressing at the end of the day. It's great. So, and it's also really taught me resilience. When I first started competing, I was terrible when I first started competing. I came in dead last, like my first 2 years of competing. I was like the absolute worst. So it's something I've had to work really, really hard at to be okay. I'm not the best, but I'm definitely not the bottom. I'm kind of like right in the middle, which is why we're working to bring me to the next level, right? So it's really taught me resilience, and that you don't give up when it's hard. And my bodybuilding training has actually been immensely harder than my business. So that has really taught me to have a really strong, resilient mindset, which I think has been helpful with working through the hard in my business. So I'm super grateful for that.
Yeah, it's the work-life balance thing. Like, you have your personal goals and you have your professional goals, and you feel great and you look great, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that those two things help you in your business as well, because if you feel good in your own bones, right, in your own body, there's less to worry about. There's no you're not panicking. Do I look good? Do I feel good? No insecurities. That's the word I was looking for.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And it's cool because I have clients that they come on as business coaching clients, but they're like, hey, Miranda, like, I want to start walking every day, or hey, guess what? I want to start going to the gym once a week. I'm like, yeah, like, anything, just let me know. I'll totally help you. And and it's just cool to see that journey because that increases their confidence. They're like, 1 month later, they're like, oh my God, I feel better. They're like, I want to go get a new outfit. I'm like, yeah, do it. And then like their confidence increases in their business, right? So it's cool. And I want to encourage anybody, if you do run a business and you like don't have a fitness routine and you just want to start, you don't need to be working out 3 hours a day like a crazy person. Like just 1 to 2 times per week starting out, you will see results from that if you're starting from nothing. So I would encourage people just to get started with something, even if it's twice a week for like 2 20-minute walks twice a week. That's all that you need to get started. And that it's like a progression that will lead into other things and it builds on top of each other. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And what a difference that makes. You would think that it doesn't, but just moving 20 minutes a day, twice a week, huge difference, right?
Yeah.
And, I know from my personal journey. I mean, there was a time when I was over 305 pounds and, I've lost a lot of weight, and it's daunting when you have that much weight to lose. It is daunting. And if you know that you really don't have to do much, because once you start feeling well, you want to do more. And then you start noticing, wow, I'm actually losing some weight. I'm looking better. And then you want to do more. It's just incrementally. You're not going to be shredded in 3 months if you're 305 pounds. It's not realistic.
Right.
I think that's great. That's great advice. So tell me more about the best-selling book. Like, how old were you when you wrote that book? When did it come out? What were the themes of that book, and how did that roll into your business and how you apply it to your coaching?
Yeah, thanks. So the book was really fun. I wrote a cookbook called the Total Boss Cookbook, and it was really super fun. Let's see here. I did that last year. So I was 28 when that was published. 29. So it was 28 when it was published, which was super fun. And it's for high performers who are busy AF. It literally says on the front page. And the inspiration came from that, just from being a business owner and starting in the fitness industry and having clients that are trying to eat healthier with very limited amount of time. And my whole thing was like, listen, I said, you don't have to be making home cooked meals every single day to eat healthy, right? So every single recipe in there, there's I think 8 or 9 different categories. There's like lunch, dinner, snacks, sweets, kids meals. There's a whole bunch of different things, and everything in there is with a business owner in mind. That takes 20 minutes or less to make. Most take about 5 to 10, and it's been really fun. It didn't take me that long to put it together, because what I did was, for this, my gears were turning, right? So like me, I'm always thinking like alternate ways to do things, and we needed pictures of all this stuff. And I was like, there is no way I'm going to go to the grocery store and get all these ingredients for these 50 recipes and make them all myself and take pictures of them. Like, that is just crazy.
How did you do it then?
I threw up a post on Facebook and I said, hey, would anyone be willing to grab a recipe, make it, and then send me a picture of it?
That's brilliant. That's gold right there. That's gold. Someone's going to listen to this and they're going to hear that. If I have a need, I'm just going to throw it up on Facebook. I love it.
Yeah, and there was only 50 recipes, and I had like 75 people reach out. It was insane. And these people, like, I didn't even know them. They were like all over the country. I didn't even know them. So I was just passing out recipes, and they went to the grocery store and got the stuff and made it and like took pictures of it. And now they had this meal to like feed their families. So the whole thing was just really cool. So it didn't take long for me to put that together because of that. And I got the pictures, sent it to my designer, like got the whole thing done. I actually did the book myself on Canva. So I did the whole thing on Canva, and then it was published after that. So it was really cool, and it was cool to give that to somebody, because I did do recognition for whoever made their recipe on the page, which people like that, so it was cool to give that back.
That I didn't even think of such a thing, asking people on Facebook for help. That is genius. That's genius, right? And, and I wouldn't, maybe this says more about me than I want to reveal, but I would be nervous to ask people, right? Because it'd be like, what are you, lazy? Go do it yourself. Pay someone to do it, right? That would be my thought process, that someone would ridicule me for asking. But that's fantastic. That's fantastic. So how do people reach you? Like, put your info at Total Boss. What is it? TotalBoss.com?
Yeah. yeah, so totalboss.com, but honestly, the best way to reach me is just on Facebook. Find me, Miranda Jiggins. Just find me on Facebook, Google my name, and just send me a message. I love to talk to anybody, so that's the best way to find me.
We'll make sure that all that stuff is attached to the bottom of the video when we get it on YouTube, and we'll get it on YouTube, and we'll get it on Facebook, and we'll Twitter, and yeah, maybe a couple other platforms. We'll see. So all right, so leave us with Miranda Jiggins' quote. Leave us. You take us off. Give us some positive reinforcement here.
A quote? Oh my gosh. Okay.
Putting you on the spot.
You are putting me on the spot. You know, it's really funny. If you were to ask anybody else for a quote from me, they would rattle one off like that. But you asked me. I don't know. I would just really encourage everybody to do what you feel is right for your next step, regardless of what anyone says or thinks. Just do what you feel is right, even if it doesn't seem like what you thought it was going to be, or if it doesn't make sense. Just do what you feel is right, even if it doesn't make sense. Trust the process, and it'll all work out.
Take a chance.
Take a chance. Right.
I love it. All right, everyone. Miranda Jiggins, Total Boss, and we're going to have you on again. I think we are.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'd love to be back on for sure. Anytime. I love doing this.
Wave goodbye to everybody.